Every day, people wake up to challenges they never asked for, yet few realize words can shape how we endure them. Adversity comes in many forms: financial struggles, broken relationships, illness, or the silence of loneliness. We complain, thinking words have no power, but language is often the first shield against despair. A single phrase, spoken with conviction, can reframe pain and remind us that suffering need not be meaningless. Imagine standing in a storm with no shelter. Now imagine someone whispering hope into your ear. Suddenly, you endure. Life rarely gives us warning before trials, yet it always offers us the ability to choose how we respond. Complaints chain us to circumstance, but purposeful words lift us above it even when nothing else changes. You have felt this before. A teacher, a parent, or a friend saying something that gave you strength to continue. Words alone cannot erase suffering, but they can remind us why suffering does not have to destroy us. Just one phrase can transform adversity from meaningless torment into a test of resilience and inner freedom. Too often we underestimate this power, reaching for distraction instead of speaking truth into our own souls. The body may ache, the mind may falter, but the voice can anchor us to meaning when everything else is lost. Facing adversity is not about pretending it doesn't hurt. It's about remembering that hurt can be endured with purpose. Complaints shout, "I cannot go on," but the right words whisper, "You still have the strength to endure this." Words become survival tools, like a compass in darkness, reminding us there is still direction and reason. To face adversity with silence is dangerous. To face it with complaint is destructive. To face it with meaning is salvation. Just one phrase, repeated in the moment of trial, can be the difference between despair and perseverance. History itself is full of men and women who survived because they clung to words stronger than circumstance. They remind us that when adversity arrives, we do not face it empty. We face it armed with meaning. And this is what Viktor Frankl taught, that in every trial, the words you choose can preserve your dignity and your soul. Adversity often arrives without warning, knocking down the walls of our comfort and leaving us exposed to fear. In those moments, it is easy to believe we are powerless, yet the truth is we still control our inner response. The phrase you speak in hardship is not just language, it is a decision about who you are in the face of chaos. Complaining declares defeat, but meaningful words declare resistance, even when the body is tired and the path unclear. Imagine a soldier whispering, "I will endure," as bombs fall. The phrase cannot stop the war, but it sustains the soul. Or think of a patient repeating, "I still choose hope," during treatment. The words themselves keep despair away. The body listens to the words we repeat, and the spirit bends toward them like plants bending toward light. Adversity is not only external, it is internal. And words are the tools that shape whether we rise or collapse. Complaints make adversity heavier, but words of meaning make it lighter by giving it direction and purpose. To speak courage in the dark is to remind yourself the night cannot erase the promise of dawn. A phrase becomes a mantra, and a mantra becomes an anchor, steadying the soul when waves threaten to drown it. This is why words matter, because they define the space between pain and despair, between hurt and meaning. Without them, adversity becomes emptiness. With them, adversity becomes a teacher, whispering of resilience. Words are not magic, but they are mirrors reflecting back the strength we too often forget we carry within. And so adversity does not destroy us. It only tests whether the words we choose are strong enough to hold us. Think of Viktor Frankl in the camps, stripped of everything, yet still repeating phrases that kept his spirit alive. He knew he could not control his suffering, but he could control the meaning he assigned through words and thought. The phrase, "I still have freedom within," became more than belief. It was the boundary despair could never cross. Adversity was brutal, but his response was more powerful, because words reframed torture into testimony. Complaints would have surrendered his humanity, but words of meaning preserved his dignity even in chains. This is the essence of facing adversity. You cannot erase the storm, but you can decide what you will say in it. The words, "I choose my response," may seem small, yet they carry infinite weight against the emptiness of despair. Adversity without meaning corrodes, but adversity with the right phrase becomes a crucible of transformation. When you speak meaning, you stand taller, even if the world presses harder. you become unbreakable from within. Complaints echo weakness, but words of meaning echo eternity, carrying you further than strength alone could. To whisper, "This has purpose," in the darkest night, is to light a candle that adversity cannot extinguish. Your chosen phrase is not denial, it is defiance, a reminder that your spirit is not owned by circumstance. Frankl showed us that adversity reveals what we cling to: complaint or meaning, despair or dignity. And the words we choose in adversity decide which side of that divide we will stand on. Just one phrase spoken with conviction can be the difference between surrendering to despair or surviving with purpose. Adversity without words of meaning becomes a storm without compass, tossing us aimlessly until despair takes over. Complaining is the language of surrender, while meaningful phrases are the language of resilience and defiance. Imagine a climber whispering one more step with every breath. Those words turn exhaustion into survival. Or a grieving parent repeating, "Love still matters." That phrase transforms unbearable loss into enduring testimony. Adversity may bruise the body, but words shape whether the spirit bends or stands unbroken. The human soul is a mirror, reflecting back the words it hears most often. Let them be words of courage, not despair. Complaints distort adversity, magnifying its weight, but words of purpose reduce its sting by giving it direction. To repeat, "This has meaning," is to reframe suffering into a teacher rather than an executioner. Words do not erase pain, but they prevent pain from erasing us, preserving dignity in the darkest hour. Adversity tries to silence us, but speaking words of strength is proof that the soul still resists defeat. The phrase you choose becomes the seed from which resilience grows, even in soil scorched by hardship. Complaints root despair, but meaningful words root hope, turning barren ground into possibility. Every phrase of courage is a candle against the night, proof that darkness cannot dictate the final word. Words are bridges across adversity, carrying us from despair to endurance, from emptiness to meaning. And so, your chosen phrase in adversity is not small, it is survival, it is defiance, it is life itself. History is filled with people who endured suffering, not because they were free from pain, but because they clung to words. The phrase, "I will not give up," has carried countless souls, through prisons, wars, and heartbreaks. Complaining would have chained them to despair, but words of meaning lifted them beyond what the eye could see. Imagine the refugee walking endless miles, whispering, "I will reach safety." That phrase is the engine of survival. Or the patient who repeats, "I am still alive today." Those words turn fragile breaths into victories. Adversity strips away illusions, but words rebuild purpose, even when everything else has been taken. Complaints focus on what is lost, but phrases of strength focus on what is still possible, however small. The human soul needs words like lungs need air. Without them, adversity suffocates hope into silence. To speak, "I can endure," is to affirm that adversity may press down, but will not erase who you are. Complaints echo emptiness, but chosen words echo eternity, reminding us that meaning survives even suffering. Each phrase becomes a thread of light, weaving through darkness until endurance takes form. Adversity cannot take away your chosen words. They remain the final freedom of your spirit. To repeat them is to fight, to resist, to declare that despair will not be your master. Words keep dignity alive when circumstances try to bury it, offering proof that meaning outlasts suffering. And this is Frankl's lesson. Adversity cannot destroy you if you still speak words that give life meaning. Suffering without words of purpose corrodes the spirit, but suffering framed by meaning becomes a sacred fire. Complaints add poison to pain, while chosen phrases turn the same pain into a forge of resilience. Imagine the worker crushed by hardship who whispers, "This will make me stronger." His body aches, but his soul endures. Or the single mother repeating, "I will not quit," through tears. Her phrase becomes a shield for her children's future. Words are not decoration, they are survival, the rope we grip when the mountain feels too steep to climb. Adversity breaks those who complain, but it crowns those who answer with words anchored in hope. The right phrase pulls us forward, when everything else pulls us down, reminding us we still have a choice. Complaints leave us chained to despair, but phrases of courage free us to see suffering as passage, not prison. To whisper strength in the middle of weakness is to resist emptiness with every breath of your being. Words reshape adversity, turning wounds into wisdom, scars into stories, and pain into perseverance. Complaints magnify futility, but chosen phrases magnify possibility, transforming outlook and outcome alike. To face adversity silently is to risk collapse. To face it complaining is to feed despair. To face it with words is to fight. Even when the body is frail, the soul armed with words remains indestructible, unshaken by circumstance. Words of purpose transform adversity into testimony, proof that you endured and discovered meaning within. And this is the hidden secret. Adversity does not define you. Your words in adversity do. Love gives words their deepest power, turning simple phrases into lifelines that keep the heart alive in hardship. A caregiver whispers, "You matter to me," to a patient, and those words become more healing than any medicine. Complaints would only deepen despair, but phrases of love infuse even suffering with meaning and connection. Imagine the friend who repeats, "I am here," to someone grieving. Those words hold weight greater than silence. Or the parent who says, "I will walk with you," to a child. In pain, adversity softens under the strength of presence. Love does not remove suffering, but it reframes it, making the unbearable bearable through shared meaning. Complaints isolate, but words of love connect, weaving bonds that make endurance possible. To whisper "you are not alone" in the face of adversity is to defeat emptiness before it takes root. Even when nothing else changes, words spoken with love remind us we are still part of something greater. Complaints echo loneliness, but phrases of care echo belonging, restoring dignity in times of despair. Every act of love is anchored in words, and these words give suffering a redemptive power complaints cannot. To face adversity with love-filled phrases is to declare that meaning is alive, even when comfort is gone. Adversity may test love, but it also reveals its strength, proving that connection survives every hardship. Complaints end with emptiness, but words of love end with meaning, leaving no space for despair to dominate. And in the end, love turns words into light, showing that adversity cannot destroy what meaning has sanctified. Freedom reveals itself most clearly in adversity, because even when everything is taken, we still choose our words. Pain may control the body, but it cannot control the soul that repeats a phrase of dignity and endurance. Complaints surrender this freedom, while meaningful words defend it, keeping our humanity alive under pressure. Imagine the prisoner whispering, "I am still free within," as chains rattle. His body is bound, but his soul is not. Or the patient whispering, "I still choose my response," as treatments weaken him. His phrase preserves his power. Freedom is not the absence of adversity, but the ability to face it with words that anchor the spirit. Complaints say, "I am defeated," but words of choice declare, "I still decide who I am in this suffering." To repeat, "This does not own me," is to stand, taller than adversity, no matter how heavy its weight may feel. Every phrase of courage is a reminder that freedom is alive, even in conditions designed to erase it. Complaints magnify oppression, but meaningful words magnify resilience, reframing hardship as testimony. To speak hope when despair surrounds you is to prove adversity cannot erase your inner sovereignty. Each chosen phrase becomes a shield, deflecting emptiness and guarding the last frontier of human dignity. Freedom lies not in avoiding suffering, but in the power to give it meaning through deliberate words. Complaining gives adversity control, speaking purpose reclaims it, proving the soul is never truly captive. And this is Frankl's legacy. Adversity cannot destroy you if your words protect the freedom within you. Memory also arms us in adversity, reminding us of phrases spoken before that carried us through earlier storms. Complaints erase memory's gift, focusing only on present pain while forgetting the victories already survived. Think of the exile who whispers, "I endured before, I will endure again," drawing strength from remembered resilience. Or the widow who repeats her partner's words, finding comfort in memory that transforms grief. into presence. Adversity may strip the present, but memory restores continuity, anchoring us in a story larger than pain. Complaints insist, this is the end, but memory whispers, this is another chapter, and you have survived others. To recall and repeat phrases of hope is to connect suffering today with meaning discovered yesterday. Every remembered word becomes a torch, guiding us through tunnels of adversity toward light unseen. Complaints keep us wandering blind, but memory offers direction, proving we have been lost before and found our way. A phrase spoken long ago by a loved one can outlive their presence, carrying us forward when we feel alone. Adversity breaks when memory strengthens, because we realize that resilience is part of our history. Complaints deny this truth, but chosen words affirm it, reminding us that endurance is stitched into our story. To face adversity is to stand not only with yourself but with every phrase, every memory that shaped you. And in remembering, emptiness loses its grip, replaced by meaning that makes survival possible once more. So repeat the words of memory, for they are proof that adversity is temporary, but meaning is eternal. The ordinary moments we overlook often hold the most powerful phrases if we dare to listen to them with awareness. A sunrise quietly says, "Begin again," reminding us that adversity cannot cancel the possibility of renewal. Complaints silence this message, but chosen words echo it, aligning our spirit with life's rhythm of resilience. Imagine the stranger who offers a smile. That simple gesture speaks louder than despair's coldest whisper, or the child's laughter that says joy is still here, breaking through adversity like light through broken clouds. Every phrase of courage found in daily life resists emptiness, showing us meaning survives in small details. Complaints magnify absence, but gratitude magnifies presence, allowing us to hear the hidden words of hope. "This moment matters" is a phrase anyone can repeat, and it instantly transforms emptiness into awareness. Adversity feeds on forgetfulness, but awareness remembers that even small acts carry eternal significance. Complaints blind us to these truths, but reflection reveals them, turning hardship into hidden sanctuary. Every ordinary phrase spoken with sincerity becomes extraordinary in adversity, breathing life back into the soul. Pain does not erase the beauty of existence. It only tempts us to forget that beauty is still speaking. To repeat "meaning is here" is to join that voice, resisting despair with words stronger than suffering. Complaints echo futility, but chosen phrases echo eternity, testifying that life still holds sacred depth. And when you hear and speak these words, adversity cannot silence the meaning stitched into the everyday. To live fully is to face adversity with words that anchor us, shaping pain into purpose and loss into legacy. Complaints reduce adversity to torment, but meaningful phrases transform it into testimony of resilience. Imagine whispering, "This is not the end," during trial. Those words reframe the moment as passage, not prison. Or repeating, "I still belong to life," reminding yourself that suffering does not erase your connection to meaning. Each phrase chosen in adversity becomes a stone in the foundation of your character, unshakable by storms. Complaints erode this foundation, but reflection strengthens it, turning cracks into channels of growth. Pain endured with words of purpose becomes more than survival. It becomes wisdom and strength for others. Adversity then ceases to be an enemy and becomes a teacher, instructing us in the art of endurance. Complaints tell us, "This is meaningless." Words of purpose remind us, "This is shaping me into who I must be." To face adversity is not to escape it, but to meet it with phrases that preserve dignity and freedom. Meaning does not erase suffering, but it redeems it, giving weight and value to what would otherwise crush us. Complaints trap us in despair, but chosen words unlock doors to new perspectives and deeper strength. A single phrase of courage repeated with conviction can outlast hours of suffering and years of hardship. Frankl showed us this truth. Adversity cannot be avoided, but it can be endured with meaning chosen in words. And so, the final measure of survival is not the adversity we face, but the phrases we choose to carry through it. When adversity strikes, remember, it is not the storm itself, but the words you choose in it that decide your survival. Complaints feed despair, but phrases of meaning feed resilience, turning pain into purpose and emptiness into growth. Repeat to yourself, "I still choose my response," and you will reclaim the last freedom adversity cannot take away. Adversity cannot erase dignity if you anchor yourself in words that declare strength even in weakness. When emptiness whispers, respond with the phrase that reminds you life still carries meaning beyond suffering. Do not let complaints be your language. Let chosen words be your defiance, your anthem against despair. A single phrase, spoken with conviction, can shift your soul from hopelessness to endurance in an instant. Adversity loses power when you say, "This has meaning," because meaning transforms torment into testimony. Words are not decoration, they are survival tools, the ropes that hold us when storms try to drown us. Each phrase of courage spoken aloud is a rebellion against emptiness and a victory for human dignity. To say "I can endure" is to remind yourself that adversity is temporary, but resilience becomes eternal. Complaints shorten your vision, but meaningful phrases widen it, showing you the horizon beyond hardship. Say the words that align you with love, hope, and memory, for these will fill the void emptiness leaves. When despair tempts you, repeat, "My suffering is not meaningless," and despair will lose its sharpest weapon. Every phrase you choose becomes part of your story, shaping not only how you endure but who you become. Words may not end the storm, but they will steady you within it, preserving the dignity adversity tries to steal. Remember, the soul does not break from pain alone, but from the emptiness of believing pain has no purpose. Just one phrase can guard you against that emptiness, restoring hope where despair tried to build its throne. If these words have touched you, let them remind you that here is a place where resilience is shared and multiplied. So carry your phrase with you, and know, adversity will not define you. Your chosen words of meaning will.